Hey guys, it's Meg and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal for March and let's just get into it. To start off my March cover page, I'm using the 0.2 fine liner pen to draw lots of little hexagons all around the page in random spaces, as my March theme is going to be bumblebees. Now you could use a ruler for this, but I just think it takes far too long. This was pretty time consuming anyway, so I did this without a ruler and I think it looks just fine. The only bits that were a little bit tricky were doing the hexagons that go across the middle of the page, but we got there in the end. Then moving on to the little bumblebees, I'm using the 0.3 pen for this as I wanted the lines to be a little bit thicker, and I just created a simple kind of squished oval shape with a few lines down the middle and little loops on the top to make the wings, and they turned out pretty cute. Then onto the 0.1 fine liner to draw the little dotted trail to go behind the bumblebees. This is just kind of cartoon effect to make it look like the bees have flown in this direction, adding in a few little loops along the way. Then in the space left on the left hand side, I wanted to have a little quote, and one that fitted with the bees theme was this "Don't worry, be happy," and I just thought it was a really cute quote and was the perfect length to fill this bit of space. Moving on to the right hand page, I'm just filling in March in some fun bouncy hand lettering. I'm also using the slightly thicker Pentel brush pen for this, just to help it stand out, as I've got the quote on the left hand side and we want the title to be a little bit bolder than the quote. I then swapped back to the fine liner and just added a few more dotted lines so that the bumblebee trail joins onto the end of the H. Then I'm rubbing out any pencil marks that are left underneath, ready to add some colour. So I started adding colour to the hexagons in the background, and I'm using 3 different shades of yellow for this. A slightly warmer orangey tone, a mid-range yellow, and then a paler, brighter lemon yellow. I started off with the darkest of the yellows, as this would be making up the least amount of the hexagons, and then I can just fill in what's left with the other 2 yellows. I also decided as I was colouring that I was going to leave a few of the hexagons blank. I wasn't sure whether this would make it look like I'd just forgotten to colour them in, but I just didn't want the yellow to become too intense, as we've got the bees as well, so I thought leaving a few blank hexagons would help brighten the page. I also found the best way to colour these in was to go around the outline first and then colour them in by doing single lines across the diagonal. For the little bumblebees I used the middle yellow, and then I used a black fine tip colouring pen for the black sections and a light blue grey colour for the little wings. And that is the cover page and quote page all complete. Now let's turn over. So now moving on to the trackers, I'm grabbing my 0.2 fine liner again and drawing out 31 hexagons. This is going to be my mood tracker page for the month, and I thought the hexagons would fit perfectly and be a pretty easy way to set up a mood tracker. Then using the smallest fine liner pen that I've got, I put little numbers in the top left hand corners just so I know which day I'm on, and using the small pen means it doesn't detract too much from the design. Switching to the 0.1, I'm now drawing out 4 little squares that I'll use as my key for the mood tracker, and as I did last month, I'm just using little smiley faces to represent each mood. Then back to my Pentel brush pen just to write mood tracker across the middle, and then I'm going to be adding in some more of the details like the little bumblebee trail and rubbing out all the pencil left behind. Also, apologies to everyone for my slightly croaky voice. I've not been very well recently and I totally lost my voice over the weekend, so this is what I'm left with. And that's it for my mood tracker, nice and simple. Now on to the sleep tracker. So for this one I'm writing the title across the top in joined up lettering, and I'm actually going to be combining my sleep and water tracker for the first time in this setup. So I'm going to grab the 0.05 fine liner and write all the days of the month down the left hand side. Then I'm going to use the ruler and the pen just to sketch in all of the grid lines that I'd already sketched out in pencil underneath. So the way this tracker is going to work is I'll have the sleep section on the left hand side and the water section on the right hand side. So I'm just writing in the numbers for the hours of sleep across the top. So we're starting at 9 PM, going all the way through to 11 AM the following day. And then for the water tracker on the right, we've just got 1, 2, 3 and 4, and this is to represent litres. So I will be drawing a line from the left up to whichever number of litres I've drunk that day, and it will end up looking like a bit of a bar graph on the right hand side and just lines through the middle on the sleep tracker as normal. I've also added in a little bumblebee illustration down at the bottom, just because these pages do look a little bit boring at the start when they're obviously not filled in yet, but they'll start to come together as I work through the month filling them in. I did also add a few of the dotted lines around the page, just to help decorate and make it a bit more interesting until it's filled in. So this next tracker is one I've not actually used before in my bullet journal, so I'm just starting off with the random hexagons again in the background, and then I'm going to create a mini calendar spread. So I've put the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday initials at the top, and then I'm using little boxes to be the basis for my workout tracker. I used the Pentel brush pen again for the title in the top left hand corner, and I set up the key down in the bottom right. So down here I'm writing in the workouts I plan to be doing, so this is a mixture of weights and cardio, as well as a space to track if I've had a rest day or an active rest day doing a walk. And I wanted to try out this tracker to see if it helped me stay consistent with my workouts, and I can also use it as a spread to help me plan my weekly workouts. I also just wanted to include this clip to give you a better idea how long these spreads actually take me, as this is real time me writing one letter, so you can imagine how long these spreads do take me. But I'm definitely very much a perfectionist, and you don't have to take quite as long as I do, but I thought it might be interesting for you guys to see just how long these things do take, as I obviously have to speed most of it up for it to fit into a YouTube video. Once I'm finished with the pen and the pencils all rubbed out, I just went ahead and coloured in the little bumblebee, and then I filled in my tracker key with the colours I'm going to use for each of the different workouts. Then again, just colouring in the hexagons in the background in my 3 different colours, as well as the few blanks, and then we're on to the last page. So the last of the spreads I wanted to include in this monthly setup is a gratitude log. Each month I've been changing up which trackers and spreads I wanted to include, and this month I decided to bring back the gratitude log. It's a really easy, simple one to set up with just simple straight lines across the page, and I try to alternate the colours, so I'm using my darkest yellow and the mid-range yellow. It's not the easiest to get straight lines with a felt tip pen and no ruler, but just do your best, and you're going to be writing over the top of it anyway, so it doesn't matter too much if they're a little bit wobbly, and I think it kind of adds to the quirky homemade nature of a bullet journal anyway. Then I put the days of the month down the left hand side and added a few little extra details like the bumblebee trail, rubbed out all the pencil, and that's about it. So here's a final look at my March setup. We've got the cute little cover page with the quote on, the mood, sleep and water trackers, and then I've got my new workout tracker and my gratitude log. I'm so happy with how bright and colourful these spreads look. I think it's perfect for March as we're moving into spring a little bit more. And if you watched all the way to the end of this video, then thank you so much. Please let me know by dropping a little bumblebee emoji down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when my next video goes up. And I'll see you in the next one.